Thank you, Lee, very much for joining me for this interview.
Thanks for inviting me.
I'd like to start by asking you, what does the term adaptive reuse mean for you in architecture?
When we think about the life of a building, we'd like a building to endure. And one aspect of that facility in endurance is usefulness, of course. And in order to extend the life of a building, it has to be adapted. On top of that, there's the idea of sustainability, which is applicable, I guess, in terms of avoiding the throwaway and making sure that buildings' lives are extended. And so at London Business School, we've adapted a kind of carcass of a building, really, and thrust it into the 21st century from way back in the last by tuning some of the existing spaces, rebuilding some of the spaces, and finding space where there wasn't before in terms of the key entrance. So it's important to us in terms of finding longevity in existing fabric, which we think adds to the fabric of London and gives us, at London Business School, a historical anchor for the school as well. So there's lots of elements to the we believe the success of the project.
And do you think, in broad terms as well as the project that your office recently completed, that there is greater merit socially and culturally rather than simply demolishing some of our city's old buildings and simply building new purpose-built structures?
I think absolutely. I think if one tries hard enough, most existing buildings of historic value, or even recent historic value, if you think about some of the brutalist buildings that are being saved and adapted, is massively useful to the city, and it allows parts of the city to kind of rest. You know, when you look at London, there's so much new build happening, concentrated in certain pockets that I find it hard to relate to. And I think that the successes in London are where there's been new build, cheap by a jowl with old, and where old buildings have found a new use.
And in your experience, then, what are some of the key differences, or are there, the different types of challenges that you're confronted with in the process of adaptive reuse, rather than being approached with an entirely new project or on a greenfield site, if you will?
Well, when you're adapting a building, you don't have a blank piece of paper in front of you. Where you're presented with a green field, you do. And there are challenges with being presented with a blank piece of paper, of course. And so some of the challenges we faced on London Business School were finding some of the kind of the larger spaces for kind of congregation within a fairly tight plan. Although it's a large building, there's not lots of clear span space. And so some of those issues about the larger gathering spaces within the building were difficult to find.
Excellent. Thank you very much
You bet.
for your time.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cheers.